He didn't want to go on his own, even though obviously he's a British passport holder.
And his wife had left.
His wife had already left. These people were at risk because of the work they did for him. And I think he was sort of trying to make that process easier, wasn't it? I mean, the issue we have today is time to be able to get our military out, to be able to get the equipment out. So actually, and Andrew, he's talking about, you know, potentially this sort of financial bargaining, that there's all...
A very good morning to you. Welcome to the programme. It's just gone 6:30. We have many things to talk about this morning, many people to talk to. We've got Michael Portillo in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Lovely to have you.
So, which is obviously key at this point. We heard Ben Wallace on the programme. What's happened in the last few hours, shall we? So Ben Wallace... who, if you were watching the programme yesterday, the Defence Secretary was on this programme and we put to him the question of whether Pen Farthing, who you may have followed his story, he set up the first animal sanctuary in Afghanistan. He has 71 people who either work for him or the family of those Afghan.
So we put that to Ben Wallace, didn't we, the Defence Secretary, saying that all Pen Farthing needed was this ISAF call sign. He needed paperwork to be able to get his staff successfully through security at the airport to be able to get them in there to escape. But yesterday, Ben Wallace was saying we're not going to prioritise pets above people, and they weren't able to make that happen. But there have been these developments overnight then that suggest that there is a resolution on the way.
Well, so it says now 5 hours ago, so it's sort of 1 o'clock this morning, Ben Wallace has tweeted saying, now that Pen Farthing staff have been cleared to come forward, I have authorised the MOD to facilitate their process. I can put the animals in the cargo. I just need to be cleared to get that slot. I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Let's come to you, Michael Portillo, that desperately trying to figure out how to get himself and potentially his animals, but who knows whether he'll be able to do that, but certainly his staff to the airport. So we are trying to speak to him about that. But that's and it's interesting, isn't it, when Boris Johnson and others will say we will try until the last minute to evacuate as many people as possible. That actually fundamentally can't be true, can it? Because the last minute is perhaps midnight on August the 31st, but by that point, the troops have said there's £1 billion that was meant to be going to Afghanistan over the next 7 years. That's now, you know, remaining frozen. I mean, Michael, you would know this.
In the Paralympics, and some good news as well, because Dame Sarah Storey has won a gold medal and Crystal Lane White has won a silver medal in the women's C5 3,000-metre individual pursuit. So that is great news, an amazing way
to
kick
off
gold, Paralympics.
Isn't it? Sarah Storey's 15th gold. Let's go live to Sarah's hometown of Manchester.
We were talking about Afghanistan. We'll be coming back to talk more about Afghanistan. We've got the Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab, coming on later in the programme. But in the meantime, let's turn to medical matters. We can speak to Dr. Hilary now, who joins us as well. Dr. Hilary, good morning to you. And talk to us. There's this sort of talk this morning in the papers about the vaccinations, about people who are double jabbed, about when this immunity level... I'll be able to watch your documentary tonight on Channel 5.
And for the next 5 weeks.
Excellent. Okay. Michael, Andrew, Nadine and Dr. Hilary, thank you all very much. And there's plenty more still to come. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Britain on ITV.
Right, coming up to 7 o'clock, it's competition time now. Don't miss out on your chance to win a brand new car and £80,000 in cash. Here's Andy with all the details.
Good luck. Now let's take a look at the weather. Laura is in the glorious Surrey Hills this morning. Morning, Laura. Good morning, Britain. It's just gone 7 o'clock.
The US has reportedly started pulling some of its troops out of Afghanistan just hours after President Biden refused to extend next Tuesday's deadline for evacuations.
Well, Britain's airlift operation could end within 24 to 36 hours, according to defence sources quoted by The Guardian. Our chief correspondent, Richard Gaisford, is...
Apparently his wife wouldn't let him have a drum kit at home.
Which is extraordinary,
she didn't like
the
sound of the drums.
Oh,
which is...
How would he practiced?
Amazing. And what an amazing career. And it's astonishing, isn't it, to think of how fit and healthy he really was, because at 80, in normal life, you wouldn't necessarily be as surprised, but it's incredible.
So many lovely tributes being paid today. We're going to be speaking to Dave Davies from the Kinks later on, and also hearing from Mick Fleetwood as well. But just in the newspapers, The Sun is saying Charlie the Rock behind the Stones, and just so many lovely insights into his life. And you know, just what an amazing musician
And how shy.
Yeah, he didn't embrace
was.
that showbiz life at all, ironically. He just kind of wanted to take a step back from it, just wanted to go out there, do his thing and play the drums. So we'll be reflecting that throughout the programme this morning as well. Now, still ahead on Good Morning Britain, as the Taliban take over.
Well, let's go and get the news, travel and weather where you are first.
See you shortly.
Now, still to come, she was already in the history book. She's now turned a new chapter in that.
Hello again. Now, after G7 leaders met yesterday, Boris Johnson said there's huge leverage which the G7 could wield over the Taliban to allow safe passage for Afghans wanting to leave the country, including withholding substantial funds.
But the Labour Party says the outcome of the summit was a failure for the Prime Minister. We're joined now by the shadow, and it's the quiet pain, isn't it? You can feel the quietness of their pain.
And that anguish for Naj, knowing, you know, the risk that was happening to his family while he wasn't there, the loss of his father, and how he had to deal with all that. But
and all the other interpreters who are still waiting.
In that situation.
Waiting to leave. We'll be talking to Dominic Raab, the Foreign Secretary, at 8:30 about that. We'll also be talking to some veterans of the Afghanistan war, because many veterans have spoken about their PTSD coming back more strongly in this last week or two, seeing all of that and their concerns and their fears that what they did and all the sacrifices that they made as troops have come to nothing. And that is actually, as you can hear from them both speaking there, is not true. There was a lot of positivity that happened in those 20 years. The women had education and so on. So we'll be talking to the veterans about what...
Really hard for them to come to terms with,
what they are coming to terms with, at this moment. We heard Tom Tugendhat, of course, in the Commons talking about that very emotionally, yes. Now, still to come, one of the greatest drummers of his